Hey guys, welcome to send some more cards into the PSA and wait 4 years till they come back. Sorry, just adding a little bit extra note. I hope everyone had a good Christmas, although this video is probably posting in January. Sorry, I'm starting to do a regular schedule of posting and starting to schedule things and start to learn things. Of course, the only thing I haven't learned yet is how to edit. Either way, here we go. So starting off, in my opinion, pretty cool card. Definitely not perfect condition. It is a full art Zapdos, but the reason why I think this is cool is this isn't an EX or GX or anything like that. So it's just a full art Zapdos, which to me it's really easy to find them with the EX GX. Now there is some tiny little itty bitty tiny nicks up top. It's really how the card was just made. Other than that, everything's pretty good about this card. I really kind of like it. Real big close-up on Zapdos. The back, there is some minor whiting on the corner, a little bit on the top. Other than that, centering's pretty good and no big scratches. I do wish that whiting wasn't there. But because the whiting is there, we'll get somewhere between an 8 to 9. Granted, I have a hard time seeing the fronts of these, like in terms of damage. So we'll say 8 to 9 for this one. Now, I know some of you don't quite understand. I want to explain. You're not guessing the grades. You can go off what I write down, but if you want a chance to win some more free stuff, because, when the grades come back, probably 50 years from now, we're going to do another video revealing the grades, showing off the cards, helping understand people what to look for. It'll help them, you guys, the viewers, in terms of understanding what to expect for certain grades for certain cards. And, if you guess the grades correctly, now on this video, and you can go off what I put down, or you can go off on your own little thing, you'll have a chance to maybe win something. We don't really do a guarantee, and it's whoever commented first, specifically for that card, and for all the cards. It's really just best to, guess the grades, on this, for each card, in order to increase your chances to win something. So, that being said, we'll be continuing on. Mega Houndoom. So the funny thing to me about Houndoom, and I know Mega Houndoom's kind of new, there's a lot of them, so he's not really a big deal. Like this card specifically, there is some like upraising. Now that is actually some wear and damage to the card, but nothing nuts. Other than that, the rest of the front looks really good. The thing about Houndoom is he's like a cult like following. Like, people trying to forget he exists because everyone's so obsessed with the 3 starters and everything, and like the Pokemon they know. And then like every now and then someone's like, oh yeah, Houndoom, and then like everyone just like, oh yeah, Houndoom. There's this massive following for a Houndoom card. Now, not this one, but the next one more specifically. And there is other ones. I'm not saying the next one's the end all be all. I'm just saying the next one is kind of the ones that is kind of sought after. We'll say 8 to 9 for that one. Okay, so up next is this Houndoom. There's some other Houndooms, but I would say this is probably some of people's favorites. Is this one with him howling, for sure. And the hollow foil is pretty dope on this one with the background, everything. This has some super minor scratches on the hollow foil, and the centering looks pretty solid. It's thick borders, but other than that, it's all even. So pretty cool card. Houndoom was kind of one of the first big like darkness Pokemon. Darkness energy, when it was toned out, people were kind of like, they weren't really certain how they felt about it in terms of like where it stood for weaknesses, resistances, and strength. Like, they're like, oh, it has no weakness, but it has a resistance to Psychic. Yeah, sign me up. So people, they weren't really certain how they felt about them, whether they were broken or not. And of course, they were fixed a little bit over time. The back could use a little bit more care, but minor whitening on the corners. Pretty much on every corner, though. Maybe just a flat 8. The rest of the back's pretty good. Centering's pretty solid, and there's minor scratches in the hollow foil. We're going to guess 8. And remember, you don't have to, and you can. You can either follow my guesses and use those as your guesses in the comments, or you can do your own little thing. And you can just say whatever you want in the comments, too. Really, nothing's stopping you. This next one, in my opinion, is a little cartoonish, but still unique in its own right. I think that's why people like Pokemon cards, is each one is pretty much unique. I tried to explain it to people that really Pokemon cards, they have become worth a lot because they're technically just things of tiny pieces of art. Okay, so there's definitely silvering, but like it's so equal across. It's like almost as if it's a part of the card. Top's a little bit thicker in the bottom, but other than that, it's really not that bad on centering. The hollow foil looks pretty solid and like no scratches. It's really good. A little off centering now, left to right versus top to bottom. Some whiting there and some whiting there, whiting there. Minor whiting here and there. We'll just go ahead and guess a solid 8. But yeah, this one's a little cartoonish to me, but yeah, people just really like Houndoom, and that's also another card that I like to hunt down is that one. Just as, you know, there's very little of them. Up next is a Fossil First Edition Raichu, sadly not holographic, non-holo. However, because it is non-holo, it should get a higher grade in terms of the fact that, you know, it's nearly impossible to scratch up compared to a holo card. So yeah, that non-holo is all clean. Weird to say. Non-holo, all clean. Centering looks pretty fine. Nice little first edition. Oh, there is some whiting there on the edge. It's hard to see on a yellow on yellow card. Everything's pretty good. How's the back? Whiting's a little bit more apparent, so we're definitely not getting a 10 on this card. Whiting here and there, some stains here and there. That came off, it's good. Some more whiting there. Ooh, it's probably going to be an 8, but even though it's non-holo, with it being first edition, it's still worth it. So we are going to go ahead and send it. So we're going to guess 8. We'll say 829. It's really probably closer to an 8. We'll say 8 to 9. Now, this next one is something that I caught, and I probably may have already screwed up and sent cards in and didn't list this. And this is something you can actually add to a PSA label. It's super rare if you find it on base set. I don't even know if it's on base set, but I know on Fossil and Jungle, what you'll get every now and then is the hollow foil pattern will be different. Now, also, the other little misprint for Zapdos is this corner right here will not be hollow foil and the rest will. However, that's not this case. What I'm pointing out, if you haven't noticed yet, is that this is a Cosmos pattern Fossil, which Cosmos pattern didn't come out until base set 2, and Fossil in general came out before base set 2. Now, to kind of really point out what I'm talking about here, and it's very minor, of course almost every misprint is minor, isn't it? And here's also a Fossil card, and you can see it has the star pattern, which is indicative of base set cards. So here we have a Fossil card, and it's not stars, it's Cosmos. It's very, very minor, but it is noticeable, and it does increase the value drastically on such a card. So really glad I spotted it. I've spotted it on a couple of my other cards. I don't know if I spotted it on, I don't know if it was on any of the cards that I already sent in. It's super minor, but it does add value, and it is something you can literally add to the label of PSA, and it's just a Cosmos thing. So centering looks pretty solid. There's some pretty clean borders. There is no, well, I guess there is. There's a factory line on the hollow foil, but nothing to worry about. Centering's a little bit off, but really it's pretty solid. And minor whitening. Pretty much all the wax is there. Oof. We're going to say 8 to 9, but it's really nice that it's a Cosmos pattern because that does increase the value drastically. The only thing that would make this even more dope if it was first edition Cosmos pattern Symbolist. I don't know if they have a Fossil Symbolist. I know they have Jungle Symbolist, but of course a Fossil Symbolist first edition Cosmos with also the misprint error in the top left corner would make that card insanely valuable, but it is what it is. Next is a pretty cool Crobat. What's funny is even though this was in my generation of cards, I don't think I ever saw this version of Crobat. So it was interesting to come across it when I did. Definitely has, oh, that's not bleed. A little minor bleed, but not enough to really call it bleed on his wing. I thought that was part of his wing, but that's the moon. That's part of the background. Crobat's pretty dope to me. I'm glad they gave Golbat a evolution. Centering looks pretty solid, as is pretty common with the Japanese cards to just be in better condition overall. This is starting to, oh, I was going to say it's starting to look like a 10. Oh, still could be a 10. It's just like dust. So yeah, this could be a 10. So we are going to go ahead and put down 10 for this card. It'd be nice if it comes back to 10. I don't think there's many of these in 10, even in the Japanese version, so that's nice. ahead and write 10 down. Next is a dark Steelix. Shame on Steelix for going dark. Just kidding. Yeah, it was kind of nice they gave Onyx a evolution as well. Okay, so definitely some scratches. Not deep, but there's several of them. A little upsetting. No big deal. Some corners are a little not really cut right, but the centering is fine. Some scratches just on the front of the card in general. Corner still not cut right, and then it gets off center on the back. It's gonna be rough, but we're just gonna say an unsolid 8. We're not gonna say 7 to 8. We're just gonna say 8 and see how it comes out. There wasn't too much whiting. It was more just offsetting and miscut corners. Not my favorite to see. And next, keeping true in fashion of what I said, I'm sending in break cards. And for those who don't know, because some people might be like, break cards aren't worth anything, you're right, they're not worth anything now. But I mentioned in a video before that for an investment, break cards are going to be your next big investment. They're pretty cheap to get, near mint to mint condition. Really, you can kind of find them in mint condition. A lot of people didn't play them. A lot of people didn't like them. So when they got them, they weren't certain what to do with them. Some of them were mistreated for sure, but a lot of them were just put in binders and were kind of just never pulled out or even looked at. It's really funny to me because people didn't like the fact that they were overdone and that they are also horizontal versus vertical. But all these things add up to a solid investment because people didn't like them, but they still got them. So you can buy them for about, so there is some whiting. I wish it was in better condition, but everything's still pretty solid. We'll say 8. So people don't like them, and they're kind of not really, preserved fully, which is great for anyone who's trying to make money off these, in terms of the fact that there just isn't going to be a whole bunch of them, and right now you can get them for fairly cheap. We'll say 8 to 9 and see what happens. But of course, also, like I mentioned in my video, the ones you really want to collect in the break cards is the original Pokemon, not like the original break Pokemon, but the original Pokemon that appeared in base set. So Starmie, Ninetales, Machamp. Lugia wasn't in base set, but Lugia is always a big one to collect. I personally do kind of like this interesting multi-mirror pattern. I'm certain this was hard as hell to print on the machines in terms of like what they had to do in terms of cutting out the sections individually and printing them like that. I mean, they didn't label each thing, they didn't like lay individual sections, but it's still not probably something easy to run on a printer. And Pokemon probably has, they definitely have really special printers. Really, this card's pretty solid. I don't see any whiting. I really can't see what's wrong with the front. I'm gonna guess a 10, hope for the best. Sadly, when I was looking at some of the Lugias that I bought that were break, they weren't 10s, and I don't think they were even 9s. I might get lucky if they come back 9s. I really want them to be a 10. Really, for your break cards, you have to shoot between your 8s and up, because they probably won't skyrocket in value unless you're willing to wait 20 years, which I might just do, because they will, go up. Not quite certain how I feel about Magnezone. Not really quite certain how I feel. Now, for this one, it's definitely bleed. I don't know if it's bleed all over the place, but it's definitely bleed because it should not be on the Pokemon itself. This may be pulled out and sent to BGS as a separate thing. I'm going to write down bleed, so this may throw off y'all's voting and stuff. But I know apparently PSA counts bleeds against you. Wow, they definitely should not. It is a misprint. I don't really feel as though Magneton needed an evolution, but whatever. Some minor scratches. The swirl right in the center on top of the Magnezone, which is pretty funny. And then swirl here. I don't think it was supposed to have bleed all the way through here either, but what gives it away for sure is it has bleed on the Pokemon, which I don't think has ever been done. But yeah, I know sometimes they've had holofoil in like the information of the card, but they've definitely never had it over the Pokemon intentionally. Unless you count like shinies, but that's different. It's very obvious they label it as shinies and stuff. Some whiting and some off-centering. 7 to 8? I think 7 to 8. It's probably closer to 7, but we can hope and pray. And according to everyone, BGS grades easier, so But yeah, so you can still go ahead and guess the grade, but be aware we'll probably send that one into BGS. We're building a separate stockpile for BGS because of having some of these misprints that are bleeds that should really technically increase the value of the card, but PSA apparently is like, nah, dog. Now, it's kind of funny to me, you don't hear much about Blaziken nowadays, in my opinion. I don't follow a whole bunch of forums, but card selling and other Pokemon trading and stuff, and you know, you'd figure they'd still talk about some of the show and some of the aspects of their Pokemon, and you just don't hear anything about Blaziken. Some minor scratches, but they are there. The centering looks pretty solid all the way across. Minor whiting. The centering is a little bit thicker, but still, it's there. Yeah, call that whiting. It's more just like a card upraise. I'll probably just say 8. If there was that one whiting in the bottom corner, we'd say 9, but I think 8's a good guess. This thing's a solid 8. Up next is an Unknown A, which is funny to me because I didn't know Unknowns even came in Holo until I bought someone's binder. I had a bunch. Technically I still do. I had a bunch of Unknowns when I was collecting cards myself as a kid, but none of them were ever Holo. Some minor scratches, but other than that, it is a pretty clean mirror finish Holo foil, which I really like. Everyone likes that. Centering's pretty good all the way around. Everything on the front of the card's in order. Minor whitening. Some whitening there. And if you're wondering, it's not just, I don't just put my fingers to emphasize where it's at, but also because over a white background, it's nearly impossible to see the whitening, which is a thing for people who are trying to up the value of their cards on eBay or Facebook Marketplace. They'll show you their cards, but they'll show them over a white background or within these sleeves, which actually makes it still harder to see any damage or stuff. We're gonna guess 829. Hope for the best. Alright, now it was funny, when I was looking at this Azumarill getting ready for the video, because I have to prep all the stuff, I saw that it had Cosmos background. I wasn't certain if Neogenesis had that. I went and looked, and yeah, they do, so. But it's normally actually kind of a mix. See, there we go, there's like a star right above his ear. So Neogenesis is a slight mix, but it's more Cosmos than star. So every now and then you'll see a few stars in Neogenesis. I think it's, supposed to be them kind of combining the two, but pushing forward with the Cosmos. So there is minor scratches. You can see when I do it like that. When I do it like this, perfect, mirror finish, woo! But yeah, that's not the case. So there's some minor scratches, and it's definitely a little bit thicker up top, but it's nothing crazy for off-centering. Minor whitening, very minor, but we'll say 8. If it comes back higher, that's even better. We'll say 8. Alright, next is Fossil Raichu holographic, not first edition and not Cosmos pattern, but still, nevertheless, it is a holographic Fossil Raichu. Now it does have some scratches for sure running across its holo foil, more than I would like, and they're kind of deep. The rest of the border's in order, centering's fine, just more scratches on the holo foil than I wanted. Ooh, more whiting than I wanted too. Little off center, left to right. It's a lot of whiting. We're gonna say 6 to 7, which is a little bit lower than what we want to do. And this next one too, that I saw earlier, is kind of the same way. It's a little bit more than I wanted in terms of scratches on the holo foil. And also, it's definitely not in the best shape. So this is a cool Eevee to me, and I mentioned it in the previous video, and I'll mention it again. The reason why this Eevee specifically has a tricolor pattern is because it's reminiscent of the fact that back in the day it only had its 3 evolutions. Flareon for red, yellow for Jolteon, and blue for Vaporeon. So that's why this card is like this in terms of it having the 3 different color holo foil pattern. Now, as you can see, this one has a ton of micro scratches, which is kind of upsetting. It's more than I wanted. It's probably not worth sending in, but we're going to do it anyways. Some silvering around the entire card. Oof. Maybe we won't send this one in because this corner is beat up. So this might, yeah, this is getting pulled. So hold on, we're going to have to do an emergency pull out. Yeah, go ahead, joke, laugh. How's this Ditto that I used as an example? Is it looking good? Let's do a quick look. It's got a little bit more whiting than I wanted. So, hold on, guys. It's going to take 1 second. I think we use Nidoking as a emergency pull in one of our other videos. This is a different one. So we're going to use another Nidoking as an emergency swap in for this one. Okay, so Nidoking, wow, actually really great hollow foil. Minor scratches, very minor though. Definitely thicker up top and bottom. Not too nuts. Some silvering. Oh, good, that was dirt. Off center on the back, all the way across. Some whiting. Little crease. Some creases. I think this is actually one of my original Nidokings, and that's why it's not in fantastic condition, because I played my cards as a kid. We'll say 7 to 8. That 8's probably really ambitious if it wasn't for the centering, but we'll say 7 to 8. And sorry, it's going to take a little bit more time. I have to fill in some stuff and replace the information. Nidoking is 11 out of 102, so that's convenient because that Eevee was number 11 for the promo. Okay, so we're going to put that Eevee to the side. We'll either sell them raw or use them as a trade, or, you know, maybe we'll give them away or put them in a binder or something and sell a whole binder. You never know. The point is, we do want to try and get the most value for all of our cards, too, in terms even if we have to wait a little bit. However, that Eevee, on the other hand, we'll probably never get the value out of it. So we're going to have to just sell it raw or trade it or use it as a giveaway. So this is Dragonair. It's kind of funny to me how Dragonair's rare, and then he's still involved in the Dragonite, who's another rare. And to me, Dragonair never seemed rare, because it seemed like everyone had a ton of them. But, you know, it's whatever. Front looks pretty good. Super minor whitening. I think that's just dirt. Will it come off? It does. More whiting. We'll just say 8. And believe it or not, Dragonair still goes for some decent money, even as a base set, non-first edition, non-shadowless. Granted, you definitely want that PSA 10, but... Okay, so Lapras. Lapras is an interesting one to me. And the cool thing about Lapras, well, one, it's got a ton of stars for his hollow foil background. They went nuts. In fact, I don't even know if that might be more than usual. I'll have to look into that. Extra stars? Question mark? Because that is a lot. It's usually never that much on any card, but I think they only do that on Lapras, if I remember. I remember always enjoying Lapras, looking at him as a kid. But he was really common. It's kind of funny that they made him a rare, that he evolves from nothing. Now, you can get Lapras and Cosmos. It's pretty common to find Lapras in Cosmos and Machamp in Cosmos. So you can get a base set card in Cosmos. You can get base set Machamp in Cosmos, and he's worth a lot. I do have a Lapras in Cosmos. I think I already did him in a video. If not, he will be up in a video eventually. But I know I have several of them. And as I said, it's pretty easy to find Lapras in Cosmos. Definitely a bunch of minor scratches on this Lapras. Centering's a little off, and there's definitely some silvering on the bottom. Looking for whiting. Actually, minor whiting on the back. That's good. We'll probably just guess. We'll just guess 8. It's really hard for me to tell in terms of like how much those scratches count against him. And then it doesn't help that there's a good bit of silvering on the bottom. Oof. We'll probably guess 7 actually. It'll probably be a card we have to wait on a little bit. And the thing that I don't like, and granted there is a lot of Laprases. But the thing I don't like, I mentioned it earlier, is I don't like population reports. They're good and they're bad. They're good because a low population report increases the value of your card. they're bad because people will try and manipulate in terms of what a low population report is. So there might be a card that no one wanted to get graded in terms of it being a 1. Someone saw that there's no population for that card in a PSA 1, so they went ahead and had it graded, knowing it would get PSA 1, which is a super easy grade to get, and then it shows up as a population report as 1. Now, obviously, smart people probably won't fall for that, but they're going to trick somebody, and they've done it in the past. And the reason why a population report of 1 for a PSA 1 isn't truly a population report of 1 is because anything above that, the way population report technically works, is anything above that grade that has a population report is equal to that population report. So for example, if you have a PSA 10 and there's 1,000 of them in the population report, and someone does a PSA 1 for something that had 0 of it, and it shows up PSA 1 population report 1, it's not that there's actually only one of them that's a PSA 1, because all of those PSA 10s can become PSA 1s, while a PSA 1 can never become a PSA 10. Do you kind of got me? I did it in a video. If you haven't seen it, try and find it. It talks about population reports. And then the second other thing that I don't like about population reports is they're permanent. And what I mean by that is I don't think anyone is doing it. I don't think there's even a way to do it. Even though PSA gives a serial number to your card and stuff, I don't think anyone's reporting when their card gets lost, stolen, or destroyed. So, in terms of a population report, there might be 1,000 PSA 10 Laprases, but maybe ever since that population report, maybe 200 got lost, maybe 200 got destroyed in a flood or fire. So there may only be 800 PSA 10 Laprases. So that's why I don't like population reports. They're not like car vents to when a car gets into an accident and totaled and destroyed, that car actually falls off the population report for how many of that car exists, not car, vehicle. So that's my issue with population reports, is you could have 10 PSA 10s, and because there's only 10 of them in the world, they're worth a lot, but maybe out of those 10, 8 got lost and destroyed. So there's actually only 2, but it's not showing up because they don't fall off the population report. You kind of got me? Okay, moving on. To me, this isn't the coolest card, but in terms of being a Zapdos, this is the coolest Zapdos to me. He is in the middle of some sort of fight. He is looking down, smiting somebody for sure. The background is like he has brought the clouds to cover the sun. He is pissed. He's flapping his wings. This is just like one of the coolest. It is one of the coolest cards, but this is the coolest Zapdos. And he's Rocket Zapdos. Bordering looks great. Doesn't look like there's any scratches as I can see on the Hall foil. I don't see any whiting. A little bit thicker on the top, but nothing crazy for centering. I don't see why this can't be a 10. I hope it does come back at 10. I don't know if there's a Rockets Articuno. I know there's a Rockets Moltres. The Rockets Moltres looks okay, but I don't think there's a Rockets Articuno now that I think about it. I've never seen one, or I can't remember one, but this should be a 10. The coolest Zapdos and one of the coolest Pokemon, card scenes ever. Okay, another Zapdos, not really clean. Probably why even send it in? Because I think there's just certain cards that I think are just going to increase in value, and I think any card that has this guy on it, sorry I don't know who it is, but any card that has this guy on it will eventually go up in value. Now there is scratches. They're kind of hard to see. Border's not perfect. But it doesn't look like there's much whiting on the back, which is fantastic. We're going to guess 8. But yeah, I definitely think any card with that guy on it, especially if it's a rare and hollow, is going to be worth definitely money in the future. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of him. So definitely get those graded while you can. So we're going to just guess a flat 8. So hopefully, let us know if you agree or don't agree with the grades. Remember, some stuff might get pulled. We already had that happen literally just now between that Eevee and that Nidoking. We had to do a pull out. Some things might get switched to being sent to BGS, just maybe BGS might let us be more specific on our misprints and won't count them against us, and it'll actually help with our stuff. Sorry for getting tired of all these PSA videos. We're just really ramping up. We're really building up. We really want to get these cards back graded, hopefully get the grades that we're guessing, and then hopefully we can resell them and continue to have Pokemon product flow through. We've actually had a slowdown in binders. I don't know what's up with that. I don't know if our ads are getting through or if people just aren't wanting to sell them, or we may have cleaned out the area already, which is a possibility. But also keep in mind, we can just move in with the new stuff. We are doing new stuff all the time. We got those shiny V Japanese card, high V cards. Awesome cards, awesome packs. Totally suggest them out of any of the packs, especially for a feel good time. Other than that, just keep posting for other videos. I'm certain we'll have some more giveaways. I'm certain we'll do some more small giveaways, some more binder giveaways, some more sub count giveaways. We kind of have an idea of what we want to do for certain sub count card giveaways. So stay posted for that. We're always trying to do giveaways, and hopefully all of our giveaways get to you. We know there's been some mailing problems in the past, but they seem to have been resolved. Other than that, have a good day. Bye.